Today, AI is changing how fast organizations can move, but speed alone doesn't create value.
What matters is how clearly teams can define the problem, align around outcomes, and make the right decisions before they accelerate.
I'm Clay Richardson, founder and CEO of Digital Fast Forward.
And I'm Steph Louis, Senior Director of Pega Community and Developer Engagement.
Each episode, we sit down with leaders and practitioners to explore what it really takes to design for value.
And find out how organizations are turning AI-driven speed into meaningful, measurable outcomes.
Welcome to Design to Accelerate.
Conversations on creating value in the age of AI.
Let's go. Welcome to another episode of Accelerating Value in the Age of AI. And first, I want to introduce myself, Clay Richardson, Chief Accelerator with Digital Fast Forward, and my host.
Back again, Steph Louis, Senior Director of Developer and Community Engagement here at Pega. Excited to be back. And then today, we have a friend that I've known for a while at Pega, Ben Baril, Senior Director of Solutions Consulting, I believe is the latest title.
That's the latest title,
That's the latest
I
title.
can make it longer if you want.
But Pega's great at that.
Yeah. Make up your own title.
Title inflation is a real thing. Yes.
If you could make up any title, what would you want to make up your title as?
Oh man, that's a great question. I do have a made up title.
Okay.
I call myself the Canadian Technology Officer.
Oh.
Right? And I tell our fearless client technology officer, our chief technology officer, Don Sherman, I tell him he's not allowed up in Canada. That's my domain. That's my territory. You stay down here.
AKA Bullwinkle.
That's right. I'm going to add that to my LinkedIn headline now. Bullwinkle.
Keep the Americans out, right? So I know today, last episode we talked a lot about how do you think about architecting solutions for enterprise with AI, right? And today we wanted to pivot and start talking through really, how should we begin to think about this role of the business architect or the business analyst, the BA role? Mm-hmm. And so, Steph, I don't know if you want to kick us off in terms of...
Well, I think that pivot is why we brought Ben specifically in, because you've done both designing and building for 20 years, although your hairline definitely shows it. But you've done both. And this is a pivotal moment where we have an opportunity to bring these together. So can you talk a little bit about how you're thinking about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to refer to myself as a recovering Java developer, right? I've been doing this for a long time, and to be honest, I still like to get hands on keyboard, messy writing code. But over the last 20, 25 years, so much has changed, right? So from when I started, I was in a cubicle, I got a requirements document from a business analyst who was literally on the other side of the building, right? And we would walk back and forth, right? She would give me my requirements. I would explain why this wouldn't work or why that wouldn't work. And we would come together on okay, this is possible in the time frame that we have. Fast forward, right? Mm-hmm. We've gone through waterfall methodology, extreme programming, agile and Scrum, and now we have DevSecOps, right? And all of these roles have changed, right? So methodologies have changed, right. Some technology has changed, right? But the way that we interact and that we solve problems has fundamentally changed, right? We've got generative AI now. And so the way that you think about, I've got this problem I want to solve, I've got this outcome I want to achieve, is dramatically different.
Yeah. What's interesting is I think about the journey that you just stepped through, and I think about the true challenge around the business BA role has been just that, right? What does the role really do, right? Mm-hmm. Because we see this confusing. Before we even talk about AI, right, coming into the picture or into the room as a partner. First, it's really grounding in, what was the business architect role? Yep. Right? Because it's so confusing. And my background, if I can just share, my background coming from Force Research, we talked a lot about business architects.
Yep.
And business architects are these very senior level roles. They're
Yep.
defining strategy, all of that. But when you actually go and hire someone as a business architect, they tend to be more of the requirements gatherer,
Yep.
right? And how do you think about that gap, right, between, the strategist
Yep.
and this person who's really, for lack of a better term, an order taker?
Yeah. So as you were talking just now, the image that came to my mind was Milton from The Office.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I talk to the users
right.
to understand what they need, and then I tell the engineers what to
Right.
do, right? Like, and that's
Right.
that is ultimately how I view what you refer to as like a business analyst,
Right.
right? And then a business architect would be like that, but can speak technology, might understand what all the different, enterprise technologies, because when you're developing software, you are never in a homogeneous environment, right? You are dealing with multiple dozens of different pieces of technology. So a business architect understood that context. And then today, I think, with generative AI, I think you need to do both, right? I think there's a level of upskilling required, right? I think table stakes is everybody can speak technology, right? That is just table stakes today.
Baseline.
Yeah, I think that also brings up a good point. I had a presentation as we're thinking about this and talking to different groups and how it impacts the roles and so forth. I was talking to a lot of the solutions consultants.
Yeah.
And there was a really good distinction that was made as we think about how these merge together of there's this piece of the puzzle that we need to account for is like creation and innovation, right? Because that's kind
Right.
of
Yeah.
also becomes even more important rather than just like the doer of the tasks that was given to you.
Yeah.
Right.
But then there is the doing piece that you now are empowered to actually put hands to keyboard and take that and just like start running with it. But I think that's also really important that we don't lose sight of that innovation and creation piece that's going to be required with this role to use the AI because, crap in, crap out,
Yep.
Yep.
that we need to make sure that that is accounted for as well.
1,000%. I think that's you're starting to scratch at the surface of like where I see this going, and what really gets me excited because my whole thing is how fast can we go from I've got an idea, right? And this is particularly true of me, right? Like I get a lot of ideas. I'm not tremendously good at writing them down, right? But I want to see them come to fruition,
Yep.
right? And so how do I use the tools to go from that idea to an actual implementation? And I would say I am now able to create things with literally writing as little as possible and really see them, right? Tactile, feel them as quickly as possible. And that's what got me excited about Pega 18 years ago. I can't believe that. And it's what has kept me excited because now I can go to Blueprint, Pega Gen AI Blueprint, and I can literally say like, hey, I want an application that's going to help me organize my 3 children on how we can package our Halloween candy. This is a true story, right? I needed to organize them to how we're going to package our Halloween candy because we do this as a family, right? And it actually gave me a whole, and I was like, this is exactly what I had in mind, right? It takes the visual that I have in my mind onto an actual application. That's where I think we're going with this idea of solution designer, right? Can you speak and can you use the AI effectively, right? And instead of prompting it, can you describe what the outcome you're trying to achieve and how you want to achieve it? What are the systems that are going to be in place? Can you describe that in such a way that the garbage in, garbage out, right? That it's not garbage in, garbage out, that it's exactly what you want to be. And can you iterate on that?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. It's interesting thinking about the evolution going back to that because what you shared, Steph, that I think is really critical is this idea of innovation and iteration that's really built into design thinking.
Yes.
Right? And so we've kind of gone through design thinking, evolved. I would say we're evolving past it.
Yeah.
But from a BA role, that, essentially we got to think through, how do you go from the BA all the way to now I have to be creative, innovative, and then I have to also be able to build a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that, historically, that's 3 or 4 different roles.
Yeah.
So how do we start thinking about this? I think of the Buddhist statue where it's like, or this is a Hindu statue,
with
has
all
the
the
5
arms.
hands,
Yeah.
right? It's like really what we're talking about is a traditional BA either evolving to this or disappearing, right? So how do we help them get the 3 hands? Like, what are the 6 hands? Is that right? Or however many hands.
Yeah.
But how do we think about those hands that they have to navigate?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that is, first of all, it's not just the BA role.
Right. And
right?
yes,
I think
yeah.
that's
Yes.
across the board, right? We are at a critical moment right now where you are seeing layoffs across the board.
Yeah.
Right? And you are seeing a focus on margins in organizations. And so if your role, if you are Milton, right, start learning, right? Like
Right.
listen to, if you think you're Milton, listen to the rest
Start
of this
learning.
podcast, right? Because to get
Milton
those
assessment.
arms,
I can see it. Milton assessment.
the way you do that is you learn. So I think design thinking is one of them, right? And I think design thinking is a super scary thing. When I learned about design thinking, right, and when we had people at Pega who started to talk about design thinking, I was like, I have no idea what this is, right? Because we had specialists who were focused on design thinking, and it's actually not that scary, right? It's
No,
actually just
at all.
It's actually just it's the way that I have thought about problems for a while, right? As opposed to going linearly from like, okay, I have to do 1 and then 2 and then 3, right? I much prefer this. Like, let's think backwards. What has to be true in order for us to achieve this outcome? And then let's work backwards from there, right, to a solution. And let's do that iteratively and collaboratively, right? Let's talk it out. I like to talk.
Shocking.
And so let's talk it out. And so I think that is one of the skills that you're going to need to learn is collaborative, right? It's how do you use this plethora of Gen AI tools to actually help you do that, right? And it's, get a very good understanding of the technology landscape. Those are going to give you those, I'm going to say like at least 3 arms, right, to start. Because if you don't, like, this is evolution. This is basic evolution, right? Evolve or die.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I was watching a recent, this was on PBS, that was just talking about the future of AI and Gen Z, right? And how they need to be thinking about it, right? And what was interesting is this idea that the layoffs that are happening are being blamed on AI, right? And so even when we're having this conversation, it's like, is it real that a BA faces extinction? Or is it more that it's
evolution.
That's the thing. And I'm more curious what you guys think about this is AI delivering that much change that it is driving the layoffs, or is it more the layoffs are being blamed on AI? And I know there's a little bit of a divergence, but
No, I think that's a really great point because it's so easy to blame AI versus face the hard fact that you need to evolve, right? So I think it's not extinction. I think it's evolution. And the difference now, as we've kind of went through the history, there's always been a little bit of change, and you've had to change a little. But now you have to like
golf
revolutionize your skill set and think about what you bring to the table and what you do. And that's scary. It is super, super scary, but face it, learn, and understand what we're talking about here. And we're going to continue to talk about because then it's not that scary, and then you can bring a lot to the table and embrace that.
Yeah, and I would even say the I think it maybe speak to this because I started working. I feel like I'm at Alcoholics Anonymous. I started working with AI skeptically, right? If I go back and I'm, try to stay at the forefront, so to speak, but when I started working, I was like, this thing can't think for me. Like, why am I going to?
I felt like I was cheating by
right,
using it,
right?
right?
It's almost like I think we talked about this before. I would go into the closet and do my stuff, and then I come back to people and say, look at what I did. It's great, isn't it? Look how smart I am. And I think some of that came from my co-founder, and I don't want to call him out, but he
just did.
Cornelius, I'm sorry. But when AI came out, it was almost like he was using AI, and I started terming this dumb AI and smart AI. Right? Because dumb AI was about, I'm going to let AI do the thinking for me.
Yes.
And, he was putting out a lot of these LinkedIn posts, and you could clearly see like, dude, that's not you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's not you, Cornelius, just bottom line, right? And I think it impacts your credibility, right? Like in a way. But then there's the smart AI that I started seeing where it was like, you're actually using AI to sharpen your thinking to get to solutions faster. Yeah. And I don't know, I still go into the closet a lot of times and I'm like, I'm going to do my AI over here. Nobody's going to know. Right? Yeah. Is there a Alcoholics Anonymous
AI Anonymous
path?
Well, AI still works. But the thing that I would comment on that, I don't think it's not just dumb AI and smart AI, it's dumb use of AI and smart
and 100%, right? 100%.
Because I think that's what you're describing is like,
I just like
you need to use it with what you So what do you think?
So I think I
for
think
this
that's
role
spot on.
specifically.
Well, I think for this role, and I think for I really think for like almost every role in what we do, right? In for what we do in the software development world, right? I think you absolutely have to be smart about how you use AI, right? I read a story the other day. You want to talk about dumb AI or dumb uses of AI? I read a story of somebody who was using. I'm not going to put the AI on blast because I don't want it coming after me. But they were using a model and it deleted their code base, right? And you can look up this. It was on The Verge, right? And I'm like, that wasn't the AI's fault. Yeah. Right? Like I think it's really important that you understand that was your fault, right?
Yep.
You prompted it in a way to get it to do that. You gave it access to do that.
Yep.
Right? And so I think the idea is, listen, this is a fairly new world we're in. It's been a year and a half, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it is
It's crazy.
It is evolving so quickly.
Yep.
Right? I think one of the ways I think about that is if you look at the video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. Right? I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, okay. You got to look this up. How do you not know this?
Okay. I'm too deep in the AI.
Now I feel less old. So the original video of Will Smith eating spaghetti went viral, and it was awful, right? It was OpenAI's model, and if you look at what they produced today, it is flawless, right? Okay, so I give you this example just to show you how quickly the technology is moving. You'll be shocked at the delta in a year.
Yep.
Right? What does next year look like?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. These technologies are going to continue to evolve. So when we talk about rethinking the business analyst and the business architect role, it is not going to stop. Right? So that's bad news. Again, I'm sorry if you fall into this role, but this evolution is going to continue over time because the tools are going to continue to get smarter, right? Yeah. They're going to continue to help you do your job, which means that what you do as a job is going to change over time.
Right.
Right? And so I'd love to ask you, Steph, you're in the community, right? Yep. You are talking to developers, whereas I talk to clients and I talk to architects very often. You're talking to developers and often business analysts themselves. Are they embracing this? Are they afraid of it? Are they unsure?
I think they're unsure, which is why, Clay and I are so passionate about getting this out there and talking to all of you, is because there is a lot of uncertainty and you hear these words being thrown around, but what does that actually mean? So that's what I'm seeing, and what we want to get to as we continue, the series, is to actually talk about what that looks like for you as the individual. And then one last thing, because we're just about out of time, the other thing that I want to say is that you're also not alone in the delivery cycle.
No.
So we're going to be talking about solution designers and solution builders. So you don't have to use every single capability of Pega or even what we offer for AI. Like, you partner with the builders that will take your ideas, but you have to understand it.
Yeah.
But do you have to do everything? Absolutely not. So you're not the one person that's going to have the 25 arms that is solely
Right.
responsible for delivering the solution. You're critical to that piece, but you're not alone.
If I can I love this Will Smith example, right? Will Smith eating spaghetti. I'd never heard of it.
I can't.
But I think it's a classic example in the challenge of AI, in the sense that that's really great to have a video improving over time, OpenAI model generated. But in the back of my mind, I'm asking, what is the value that delivers?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because we've all seen this MIT study that talks about the billions being invested in AI, but it's something like 90% of companies, 90% have seen no value. And to be fair to that study, AI is new, so you can't expect to get value immediately. But in that scenario, what I feel with business architects, business analysts, is your path to solution design goes through value.
Yeah.
Like the previous version was, let me, like you were describing at the beginning, let me walk and get the paper and da-da-da. Value, the value you brought was I'm going to walk from here to here. I'm going to connect in Milton terms. I'm going to talk to this person and deliver this person, right? And going forward, it's really about anchoring in value. That's, if you want job security as a evolving BA to a solution designer, it has to start with value and really understanding value, understanding what delivers value, and being clear with your users what that is. And just maybe curious from you guys, like that spaghetti example.
There's there's entertainment.
It's entertainment. There's value to me personally. Well,
but not on the job.
I want to see Will Smith eating spaghetti.
I think I love the conversation around value, right? And I think the MIT study is fascinating. It reminds me of an interesting, not a fable, but a real statistic. So during the gold rush in the Wild West, right? Who do you think made the most money?
Yeah, the picks and shovels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the people selling the tools.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily the folks who were actually down in the mines do it, right? And so, it's important to view AI, and when we talk about, by the way, we've been talking about AI super loosely here today.
Right.
Yes.
And just for the audience, I think it's really important because AI has been around for a very long time. Right? We've done statistical AI for a very long time, right? We're really talking about generative AI, right? We're talking about large language models and, all that, right? But when we talk about generative AI and the tools that it's giving you and what is the value from that, right? For me personally, the value is how fast can I go from idea in my head, right? An image of the future to that is implemented. And by the way, that value is what differentiates company A from company B. Who's going to win, right? Because ultimately, we're all going to end up at the same place, right? Because everybody borrows ideas from everybody, but it's about who is going to be first to market. First to market
with value.
With value is going to win, right? And so if you are the organization that's leveraging these tools as effectively as possible, right? And you are going from idea to implementation first, you win. And that's where the value is. That's where the Gen AI value is. Now, are you going to get that value from prompt engineering, right? I would say no. I'm not a good prompt engineer. I think prompt engineering, I will say I hate prompt engineering.
I thought that was the career of the future, man. Now you're like crapping on it.
I'm so sorry for all those people. Because,
I know.
Because here's the thing. It's such
Yeah.
a funny thing because I don't do prompt engineering. You know what I do? Again, how well can you use the tool? I give it a prompt or I give it a description of what I want to have done. And then I say, if you were me, how would you ask you this question? Right?
Yeah.
And then it gives me a much better prompt. It's going to be better at that than I am. Right? And so it's all about learning how to leverage these tools, finding the right tool. That's another big one for solution designers, right? This evolution from BAs, and by the way, for all my BA friends at Pega and at all of our partners, like I'm putting myself on blast here a little bit, right? But you've got a toolbox now, right? Am I using a flathead? Am I using a Phillips head? Am I using, right? You've got to choose the right tool for the job. And it's not going to be, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not going to be a chatbot.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be a more evolved tool, something sitting on top of these models that's going to deliver that value for you in your career and for you in your organization.
Maybe before we wrap, I want to ask.
You're going to let him talk more?
No, yeah. Because, we only have you and you're accomplished at talking. So, no.
Yeah.
No, one of the things I'm starting to think about is like, what does this look like in 2030? I think a lot of times we have these conversations, Y2K, for people that are my age, it was like the world was going to end in 2000, right? Yep. And here we are. We're still here, and we're happy. Everybody's alive. And I just wonder, like, what is your bold bet, let's say, of what this will look like in 2030 that may be counterintuitive to people?
So that's a great segue. I think, so first of all, and this is like such a strange hot take, but if we play this back in 2030, humans are still going to be involved.
Yeah.
Right? Like, people are not going away. I had this conversation with somebody at the airport. There were two individuals at the little market at the airport and a self-serve kiosk. And I was like, how do you feel about this machine? And they're like, don't worry, they're going to need us.
Yep.
Right? And it's like, that is true. But maybe not two people, maybe one.
Yep.
Right.
So what this looks like in 2030, I think we will hit a plateau of how much generative AI can help us at a certain point, right? I think individual creativity is going to be what separates different organizations,
And
right? Because,
individuals.
and because everything that generative AI does, by the way, it's in the name, right? Is what's the word I'm looking for? It's built on other work.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? It cannot create.
Yep.
It cannot think. It will not think. Right? Like the way that
it's ones and zeros.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's what you have to remind yourself.
Yeah,
that's 100.
the Scooby-Doo, right? You take off the mask of generative AI, and it's statistics. It's the subject you hated in high school.
No, I thought it was going to be a person back there, like
like Wizard of Oz.
Hey, what's up?
It's statistics. It can do wonderful things, but it will not. It will create, but it will not imagine.
Right.
Right. And so
and innovate and
that. And it will not. Yeah. And when we talk about a solution designer, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yes.
That's why I look at my team, right? And we talk about what is a business analyst, what is a business architect, right? And we say like, oh, I run solutions consulting. What is that, right? I look at my team as, these unicorns who do this, who are solution designers today, because they are imagining what the future end state of an organization's problem is.
Yep.
Right? And that is where I think this role is going to, right? These business architects, business analysts, right? They're going to be solutions designers who are imagining the future, who are using design thinking, and who are leveraging these tools that will continue to evolve in an intelligent way to get value.
It's really
Boom.
mic drop.
Yeah, I can't. These are expensive mics. I'm not going to throw them.
Yeah, what's interesting, my take is what I love what you're sharing is ultimately the opportunity by 2030 is that it allows the human to be more human.
Yeah.
Right? And you actually can focus on, like, when I think about being a human, it is about imagination,
Yeah.
right? The more I can spend time imagining and creating, the more human I feel.
Yeah.
And so that 2030 vision is very compelling, right? As opposed to scary. Like, it's going to take my job and, you know, it's the robot. So when we're looking back, we're going to meet here again 2030, and we're going to see your prediction, your bold bet. Do I feel more human? Or do I feel like I'm
Am I
just
still
a
around?
machine?
Yeah.
I totally think you will feel more human. I think we'll see if we leave this in. So there's a webcomic artist who I really like, The Oatmeal. I don't know if you're familiar with The Oatmeal. No, I'm introducing you to a ton of new content today.
I'm
The
too
Oatmeal.
wedded to the machine.
He did a comic on how he felt about generative AI art, right?
Yes.
And he's an artist, right? And he talked about how ultimately it was soulless, right? And that's what he found offensive about it. And that's where I think real things, like you can tell, right? I've generated some art and some images and this and that and fun things. And you can tell, and there's I'll use my Quebecois a little bit here. There's a little je ne sais quoi about looking at generative AI art that doesn't have feeling. Right. And so I think in 2030, right, you can take that idea of art and transpose it onto business development. Which, by the way, this is my art. Right?
Of course.
Building,
yes.
this is going to sound very lame for my children when they watch this one day, but building business applications is my form of art. I'm really bad at drawing, but I'm very good at this. You will see that difference.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And those
Yes.
human designed apps leveraging generative AI tools will be the ones that people want to interact with.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God.
We got so esoteric there.
I know.
I know. I gotta shut you guys up. I gotta be the disciplinarian and say that we gotta wrap.
You want to take us out?
Yes. Thank you, Ben. Like, I learned a lot from you, and I've known you for a very long time. So love that you're thinking about this, and thank you all for joining us for this series. But this is not the end. We'll be back, right, Clay?
Yes, we will be launching season,
whatever you want to call it.
Whatever it's called, we will be launching season 2 to really go deeper into this and start talking to practitioners in the field that are at the forefront of driving this change. And so really looking forward. Ben, you really set this up nicely in terms of getting us started on this next season.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, I thank you for having me. I hope to come back maybe before 2030 and continue the conversation.
Sounds good. Awesome. All right, cool.
you.
All right, thanks all. See you next season.
Thanks for listening to Design to Accelerate.
This is a space for thoughtful conversations about how people, not just technology, create value.
When we let human judgment lead and AI accelerate, better outcomes always follow.
Follow and subscribe to keep engaging in this meaningful conversation.